Hey guys, so this is my documentation first week of the arcade cabinet for the Vectrex console. It's the Vectrex console, I got it recently. It's the best thing since sliced bread. It's really cool. It's a vector arcade and a home console. Um, it's got these overlays that each game has its own custom overlay, so you can put these over the screen, which actually is kind of a point of contention with building this cabinet because if I've got everything sealed off, if I got the pane of glass over it, how do you access to put the overlays on? So I'm originally building this like a Minicade. Here's a picture of it. So I'm going to change a few things. It's going to have that basic design, but the Vectrex is going to be moved to the middle. That coin slot is going to be moved a little bit over, but I'm actually keeping it. And the console, the joystick's going to be in the middle. So I'm kind of centering everything. But actually, so I bought this faux coin slot here. Is actually real. I took out the mechanics of it. I'm just going to have a basic coin return. So when you put it in, it goes down straight down at the coin return right there. It does have a button that you can push just for kicks. I'm going to put that on the panel of glass. I'm going to have them cut it so it's sitting on a block of wood, and I can use this to actually bring down the pane of glass and the bezel so I can put on overlays for it, which is going to be interesting. So I haven't done much work on it yet. This is a little bar top arcade kit. You can see it's not huge. It's pretty small. It's for a flat screen monitor, so it's not going to fit the Vectrex. I'm going to have to expand out the back, cutting some more wood. I've marked off how far it's going to come out. It's going to look might look a little funky, but I think once I put the vinyl laminate on the outside and put T-molding on, it'll look pretty good. But yeah, there's where the game cartridges go into. So I'm going to try and get somebody to either build or find out how to build myself. Put a card that goes in as a game would, and then connects to a duplicate cartridge port that I can then mount in this housing right here. So I can just put games right into the side of the cabinet, which will be will look odd, but it'll be fun. So that'll be cool. And I'll close off the top, but I'll put little dowel rods around the edges so that I can open and shut with some kind of panel with a handle on it. I've been doing some work on the control panel. This originally was supposed to lie flat, and there's supposed to be like a joystick console that you just put flat on top of this, and the lip of that console just kind of sits right here. I think this is really ugly, so I'm going to cut this piece off. I want to put T-molding in this. It's a 1/2 inch. It's pretty thin, but I'm going to route it out and then make another fixed piece that just basically continues the curve down to here. That's going to be a little difficult because I don't have a whole lot of tools to do that with. I don't have a bandsaw. I have a miter saw, a reciprocating saw, an oscillator, a router, and a variable sander. I just bought the router. $85 off Craigslist. Pretty cool. Yeah, so somehow I'm going to complete that so it doesn't look really ugly and so the control panel isn't sticking up like that. I sanded it. I'm pretty proud actually of this piece right here. So this was supposed to be perpendicular to this piece. So I cut angled pieces of wood to secure them, which was a huge pain, but I've figured out that if you glue them first and then drill them, you can keep your shape a lot easier when you're measuring. So then I glue the seam to give it that curve. I put a hinge in it like a real arcade, even though I don't really need to access the control panel from the bottom, because that's my control panel right there. This is Retro Game Boys made this for me. Housing's beautiful. I was going to take the buttons out and the joystick and the knobs and put them into the control panel, but the housing is so cool that I think I'm just going to keep the joystick on top of the control panel and just recess it in a bit so it's not sticking so far out. But this was actually, he 3D printed this custom joystick for me. It's basically an exaggerated version of the actual Vectrex controller. And so you're sort of going to hold it and play it when it's recessed in. But it's coming along pretty well. I've done a lot of work, but not a whole lot to show for it. yeah, so plus there's supposed to be a marquee here. That's obviously not going to work. I was going to have something that said Vectrex and have a light behind it, but I think the monitor pane of glass is going to cut right through that. If I don't angle it, there's going to be no room, and if I do angle it, it's going to cut right through everything. So, Vectrex doesn't really get in the way of those boards, but I have to do it carefully. So that's going to be interesting.